좋다.
If this had gone on for this introduction of yours had gone on for a couple of more minutes, I would have probably thought I had died. I've not heard so many people, I've not heard people say so many nice things about me for a very long time. Okay, I have a prepared speech, so and I just hope I'll have discipline enough this time to read it through. But if I depart from it, do not take it against me. Now, friends, ladies and gentlemen, countrymen, why are we here tonight? Why, more importantly and more broadly, do we, as a group that once faced extinction and survived only where and when we mounted a successful defense, and only then, why do we do this? Why do we gather annually, share stories, and commit to future remembrance? Is that an end in itself? I don't think it should be an end in itself. I don't think it is. It is an end in itself, and I think it is part of a greater mission. Because I also believe that our experiences must carry significance within the broader scope of our history, for history as a nation and our history as a country. Now, the real question is how to ensure that our experiences remain integral to our history. It is not solely the responsibility of memorial institutions. If it were, building memorials worldwide would suffice to prevent mass atrocities. Unfortunately, this is not the case. Speaking of Bosnians and of Bosnia, I believe we're not adequately investing in memorialization or our history, and failing to invest in and protect our history jeopardizes our future. That much is certain. This morning I visited a nearby Barnes and Noble, and even though I was not looking for it, I ended up in front of a shelf dedicated to Eastern Europe. And I found two titles about Bosnia, partly, and its history. It was Misha Glenny's The Balkans and Robert Kaplan's Balkan Ghosts. Those are horrible books. Those books are among the most misleading and prejudicial accounts of our history, yet they were the only two books there. This is what must change. And this must change, and it must be the work of our generation. We must define our own history and ensure that our voice is heard. Our memorial institutions in Bosnia and Herzegovina reflect our inadequacies. Even when they exist, they often fall prey to the mind-numbing bureaucracy of the Bosnian state, instead of serving as beacons for our most creative, most educated, and hardworking individuals. Because this work is not mere public relations. It is the real work of history, encompassing archiving, research, collecting, preserving, and conserving, and more. Though it is costly, This investment is essential to avoid paying in blood in the future. And yet, despite this, all of our memorial institutions are funded and understaffed. Our brightest researchers are hindered by the unprecedented politicization and corruption within Bosnia and Herzegovina's institution of higher learning. Currently, our history and narrative are largely shaped by a few dedicated individuals. But even if we were doing everything right, why do it? Why remember? The logical answer to that should be to prevent future atrocities. But in our position, in the position of Bosniaks, we actually must address what measures can genuinely prevent genocide and how we can implement them. It's one thing to say it. It's another thing to actually do it in reality, to take steps. Now, I strongly believe that preventing genocide must be the cornerstone of our strategic and political calculus. And when I say genocide, I refer not only to Srebrenica, but also to the concentration camps of Prijedor and elsewhere, the rape camps across Bosnia, the mass executions of 1992, the widespread cultural heritage destruction, and the routine use of mass graves years before Srebrenica. But let me get back to my question. How then do we integrate Srebrenica into a strategic and political framework? I suggest that the most efficient way is to ensure that Bosnia and Herzegovina's security and military institutions are never again hijacked and used against us, as was the case with Yugoslav institutions in the early 90s. It is crucial that our intelligence, law enforcement agencies, armed forces, along with their leaders, constantly remember that the impossible has already happened. I'm not an expert in security or military, but our leaders, our political leaders, have a special responsibility to ensure that our security is overseen by the best and the brightest, devoid of political interference or internal conflicts. We may believe that we are entitled to a life of freedom and prosperity without looming threats, but that right must be earned. Our task is seemingly simple: to ensure that any potential aggressor understands that the cost of attacking us will forever outweigh any possible benefit. Yet it is the most challenging and vital task, requiring constant vigilance, education, and awareness. The burden of nation and state building cannot rest solely on memorial institutions or genocide survivors. It is a collective task stemming from a collective effort. And in the end, and in conclusion, let me be clear. For as long as Bosniak children in eastern Bosnia attend schools where they cannot use their language or learn their history, we owe loyalty to no one but them. For as long as Bosniaks in eastern Bosnia live under virtual apartheid, our sole focus must be on their freedom. We have no more pressing issues than the freedom of our own nation. Across Bosnia, in every corner of our country, because we will either live as free women and men in the whole of Bosnia, and Herzegovina, or we will not live at all. Thank you very much.